We are here at IMEX America on the show floor in the NYC and company booth, and we're talking to Fred Dixon today. Hi, Fred.
Hi, Danica. How are you?
I am doing great.
Good. Thanks for coming by.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about what's happening in the convention and trade show industry in New York City.
Yeah, I'm really happy to report that business is back in such an incredible way. We've seen the continual return throughout the year. The summer was a big turning, and the fall has just been taken off with bluster, which has just been wonderful to see. As soon as we ended August with the US Open, which was just a terrific event, Serena's retirement, and there was so much excitement around that activity, which is the biggest tennis event in the world now, right into Fashion Week, which was back in its full glory. So buyers and press and media and designers all over the world were packed into New York. They came back with full force. And then we went right into the United Nations General Assembly at the end of September. So for us, fall is always a big season. It's also when culture returns to New York, the fall culture season and Broadway's new season. So there's been a lot of excitement in the air, and business travelers, both group and transient, are doing really well. So we're excited about the fall ahead. We just came off Comic-Con last weekend. Really, I mean, it was a huge blowout crowd and just a success by every measure. And we've got the marathon back coming up, which has a huge component at Javits. We're excited to be where we are, grateful for the business, and feeling really good about the short and long term.
Yeah, wonderful. And can you tell me anything about occupancy in the city?
Yeah, happy to. We were back the top market in the country for occupancy and ADR. So really pleased with that. So we're running about 90% of 2019 performance from a demand perspective. ADR is pacing ahead of 2019. Hotels have their pricing power back, which is great for them. But New York has still got a ton of options. So no matter if you're looking to spend a lot of money or not a lot of money, you have tons of options in New York. So we're really thrilled. Last week, occupancy was around 90% citywide, all 5 boroughs. And that was with the Jewish holidays. So we're feeling really good about where we are. And we think we're going to maintain this level of activity through the rest of the year. Fall and the holidays are huge for New York. So we're on a good pace, and we should end the year strong.
And projections wise for 2023, how is that shaping up?
Yeah. So when we look overall at tourism and conventions, we're expecting to have about 85% of our 2019 visitation back this year. So that's everyone, leisure, business, and then grow on that. We think we'll be about 95% next year in 2023. And
95% of pre-pandemic.
2019 benchmark. So closing in on those big numbers. It depends on how the domestic market performs this year. We could get even closer to a full recovery by the end of next year. But a lot of questions in the international market still. What's going to happen with Asia? When is China going to open up? Those have an impact. And that could be the delta between almost benchmark, reaching benchmark again. But we're feeling very good about where we are. And I think 23 will be a very strong year from a group perspective.
Tell me about international. Let's dive into that just a little, because that has been the last one to return, especially Japan just reopened without restrictions for quarantine when they come back. And yes, everyone's waiting for China to reopen too. But what are your international numbers?
So New York is really relying upon Europe, right? For the majority of our market. From a capacity standpoint in our airline capacity situation in particular, we're really well poised at the moment. So we're running right now about 2,500 flights a week from around the globe. 1,000 of those alone are coming out of Europe. So New York is well positioned right now. I think the number 2 market for air capacity right now in the US is Miami, and they're running about 1,700 flights. So in terms of the international connectivity, New York is back in a really good position. So I think rebuilding those routes and that capacity has been a real priority for every destination. And we're lucky in New York because of the importance of the routes to New York, to the airlines. Those are major money makers. So they keep those flights up and going, and they make major. So that is a real advantage for us in that regard. So in 2019, we had 13 million international visitors to New York. We think we'll hit about half of that number this year in 2022. Demand again for the rest of the year is strong, particularly for international holidays are particular strong. And the next year we'll continue to build on that. So we're feeling pretty bullish, but there are a lot of headwinds in the currency, right? The strength of the dollar at the moment. We have long visa wait times right now in places like Brazil and India. We've met with the US government. They're working on prioritizing those wait lines to get their wait times back down. And I think they will. And so I think internationally, we're going to be well positioned going into next year. We've got our campaigns deployed around the globe. We're pushing hard on international from both a consumer and a business perspective. We have our sales missions back on the road. The team's leaving here, going to ITB in Singapore. We'll be there in full force. We've got a mission heading to Japan and Korea. To your point earlier, in a couple of weeks, we've got a mission next week to the Middle East. With our major hoteliers going into UAE and Saudi. There's a tremendous amount of activity on the market to re-stimulate international, and from what we're hearing from buyers and tour operators is that New York is pacing really and is selling strong.
If people haven't been to New York in a little while, LaGuardia the construction is done, right?
Yeah, there's a little bit of construction left,
Okay.
but you almost wouldn't even notice it. For all intents and purposes, that the new airport is finished. It's just spectacular.
That's what I've
If
seen.
you haven't seen it, it's just sun and light and beautiful white marble. It's a real point of pride for us in New York. So be sure and check out the new LaGuardia. JFK is going into a big redevelopment as well. Terminal 1, the international terminal at JFK, is going to be completely redeveloped over the next few years. Terminal A across the river at Newark also just is wrapping up. So all three of our major airports have a lot of great stories to tell in terms of improved services. And then Moynihan Station, for anyone arriving by train on the Amtrak corridor, we have a brand new train station that opened during the pandemic at Penn Station. It's just spectacular. And it's that brand arrival experience that we always wanted for our Amtrak passengers in New York. So no matter how you come, by train or by plane, we've got great new experiences for you on arrival.
And talk about any other developments that you have going on, any other major developments that show organizers and their attendees and exhibitors can look forward to.
Yeah, I guess the biggest story is obviously the Javits expansion, right? It's just incredible what they've done from adding the additional breakout space, which Javits always needed, right? We needed more breakout space, more function space for ballroom activities. There's an incredible rooftop. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's just beautiful. Between the green roof at the Javits.
The event space up there is just spectacular with how it opens all up and you can be outside, the views.
The river views and the city views. There's an orchard up there now. There's the farm that's producing obviously vegetables.
Honey, I saw some pickled cabbage, red cabbage,
vegetables. And there's a gorgeous greenhouse with a chef's table opportunity. So they've done a really remarkable job with the new space. It is the state of the facility New York always needed now. And buyers and planners are just thrilled with it. Be sure and check it out when you come to New York. So that's the biggest news on the sort of the events front. Some of our smaller spaces like ATC venues continue to grow. They've just announced a new space in Midtown. So outside of the convention center, our conference facilities continue to grow. So there's lots of new options for people in New York. And the hotel pipeline continues to grow. The Ritz-Carlton, its flagship, opened in Nomad just recently, which is a spectacular luxury experience. We had the Hard Rock Hotel, which just opened in Midtown with a significant amount of event space, the new Margaritaville Hotel.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of variety now in the product in New York. Our hotel supply is back to where it was pre-pandemic level in terms of number of keys. 124,000. We did lose a couple of major properties during COVID. We don't know what's going to happen to the Roosevelt, for example. Hotel Pennsylvania is closed and will be redeveloped. But we picked up a tremendous amount of new product in the process that replaced those keys. And we're still tracking about 10,000 new rooms at the pipeline ahead. So lots of exciting news on the hotel front. In the public green space, the High Line was recently expanded and it's expanding again to connect to Moynihan. So with the new Javits expansion and Hudson Yards, which if you haven't seen it, it's just wonderful addition next door with shopping and fantastic dining options, all connected by the High Line. It really is a tremendous new destination on the west side of Manhattan that I think is going to wow a planner of any size.
Yeah, if they haven't been, it's a really nice area around the convention center, and Javits' new expansion is gorgeous. Yeah.
Really thrilled with it. And one last tip, if you haven't seen Little Island, it's our newest park in the Hudson River, just off of the Meatpacking District. It is spectacular. It's a park in the sky, in the river. We had 2 amphitheaters, food carts, and great outdoor space. It's an architectural wonder and something really to be checked out. It's super unique in the world. So yeah, there's tons of exciting things happening in New York right now. And we just encourage everyone to take a look at what we have.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time today, Brett. I really appreciate it.
Always going to see you.